There is a quiet misunderstanding about attraction that most people never question. We are taught that desire is loud, flashy, fueled by youth, speed, and constant pursuit. But real desire doesn't shout. It listens. It watches. It waits. And this is where something fascinating happens. Because when a man grows older, if he grows wisely, attraction doesn't fade, it deepens. What changes is not his age, but his relationship with himself. Women don't respond to numbers on a birth certificate. They respond to energy, to presence, to the way a man enters a room without needing to dominate it, to the way he speaks without rushing to be heard, to the way he holds silence without discomfort. Emotional presence is the quiet skill that separates men who are remembered from men who are merely experienced. It is not about saying the right thing at the right time or knowing how to impress with stories, achievements, or charm. Performance is exhausting because it is rooted in proving, while presence is grounding because it is rooted in being. When a man is emotionally present, he is not scanning the room for approval or planning his next move. He is fully there, attentive, responsive, and awake to the moment unfolding in front of him. Women feel this immediately, often before a single word is spoken, because presence creates a sense of safety that performance never can. Many men confuse attraction with effort, believing that doing more will make them more desirable. But desire doesn't grow from effort, it grows from attunement. Emotional presence means listening without waiting to interrupt, holding eye contact without trying to dominate, and allowing silence to exist without rushing to fill it. It means being able to sit with a woman's emotions without trying to fix, correct, or escape them. This is rare, and rarity is erotic. When a man is comfortable inside himself, he does not need to entertain or persuade. His calm becomes contagious, and his steadiness invites a woman to relax into herself as well. Older men who cultivate emotional presence understand that attraction is not built through intensity alone, but through depth. They are not afraid of complexity or ambiguity. They don't shut down when conversations turn vulnerable, and they don't inflate themselves when things feel uncertain. Instead, they stay. They respond rather than react. They allow emotions to move through the space without turning them into a threat to their identity. This capacity creates intimacy even before intimacy is named. Performance seeks applause. Presence creates connection. A man who is emotionally present notices shifts in tone, energy, and mood. He senses when to lean in and when to give space. He understands that desire grows when a woman feels seen rather than evaluated. Presence communicates, without words, that she does not need to perform either. She can soften, reveal, and unfold at her own pace. This is why emotional presence feels so powerful. It slows time. It turns ordinary interactions into charged moments. It replaces anxiety with curiosity and control with trust. And when a woman encounters a man who is truly present, not acting, not chasing, not proving, something inside her responds instinctively, because presence feels like truth, and truth is deeply attractive. Confidence rooted in self-knowledge is fundamentally different from confidence built on approval. Approval-based confidence is fragile because it depends on external reactions, on being liked, admired, or chosen. The moment those signals disappear, the confidence collapses. Self-knowledge, on the other hand, creates a quieter, steadier form of confidence that does not need constant reinforcement. It comes from having spent time with oneself, having faced limitations, contradictions, and failures, and having integrated them rather than hidden them. This kind of confidence is not loud, and it does not announce itself. It simply exists, and that is precisely why it is so compelling. Women are deeply attuned to the difference between a man who knows who he is and a man who is trying to discover himself through their reaction. The first creates ease, the second creates pressure. When a man is grounded in self-knowledge, he does not outsource his worth. He can desire a woman without needing her to validate him. He can be interested without becoming attached to an outcome. This emotional independence is not coldness, it is freedom. And freedom is attractive because it allows genuine choice rather than emotional obligation. Older men who embody this kind of confidence are not rushing to define the connection, label the relationship, or secure reassurance. They trust their ability to handle whatever unfolds. If there is attraction, they enjoy it. If there is rejection, they survive it without resentment or collapse. This steadiness sends a powerful signal: I am not here to take from you, I am here because I choose to be. That choice feels very different from need, and women can feel it in the body long before they articulate it in words. Self-knowledge also allows a man to set boundaries without defensiveness and to express desire without desperation. He does not over-explain, over-promise, or over-invest prematurely. He knows his rhythms, his values, his limits, and his strengths. Because of this, he does not shapeshift to be more appealing. Paradoxically, this refusal to perform makes him far more magnetic. There is nothing more intriguing than someone who is comfortable standing in his own shape. This form of confidence invites polarity. It creates tension not through dominance, but through stability. A woman can lean into her curiosity because she senses that he will not disappear, explode, or cling. He is solid, but not rigid. Open, but not porous. Present, but not demanding. In this space, desire grows organically, because it is not being managed or forced. It is allowed to emerge, breathe, and take form in its own time, which is often when attraction becomes undeniable. Restraint is often misunderstood as disinterest, when in truth it is one of the most refined expressions of desire. Mystery is not created by hiding everything, but by knowing what not to reveal too soon. Pacing is the emotional intelligence that understands attraction is a process, not an event. Older men who have learned this do not rush intimacy, not because they lack desire, but because they respect its power. They understand that what is given too quickly is rarely valued, while what unfolds gradually allows imagination to participate, and imagination is where desire lives. When a man exercises restraint, he resists the urge to over-explain himself, to immediately respond to every message, or to fill every silence with reassurance. This is not manipulation, it is self-regulation. He is not driven by anxiety, but by intention. He knows that chemistry needs space to breathe. By allowing pauses, unanswered questions, and moments of anticipation, he creates a rhythm that feels organic rather than forced. Women often interpret this as depth, because depth is associated with layers, and layers require time to discover. Mystery is not about being emotionally unavailable. It is about being selectively transparent. A man can be open without being exposed, expressive without being overwhelming. He shares himself in measured doses, allowing connection to build instead of flood. This pacing signals emotional maturity. It says, I am not afraid of closeness, but I do not confuse speed with intimacy. That distinction is profoundly attractive, because it makes desire feel safe rather than consuming. Older men who understand pacing also understand timing. They sense when to lean forward and when to step back. They read energy rather than scripts. They do not chase when curiosity is present, and they do not withdraw to provoke. Their restraint is natural, not strategic. It comes from knowing that attraction is not something to be captured, but something to be invited. This creates a subtle tension that keeps interest alive without creating insecurity. Restraint also allows a woman to meet a man halfway. When everything is not immediately offered, she is invited to invest emotionally, to wonder, to imagine. Desire becomes a shared creation rather than a one-sided pursuit. This mutual unfolding feels intoxicating because it preserves agency on both sides. No one is being pulled or pushed. The connection grows because both are choosing it. Pacing slows time. It turns simple moments into charged exchanges. A glance lasts longer. A conversation lingers. Anticipation becomes part of the attraction. And in a world obsessed with immediacy, a man who understands restraint stands out not because he withholds, but because he knows that longing, when allowed to develop naturally, often becomes far more powerful than instant gratification. Leadership expressed through calm, grounded masculinity is not about control, authority, or dominance. It is about orientation. It is the ability to remain centered when emotions rise, when uncertainty appears, and when situations do not go according to plan. Many men believe leadership in attraction means taking charge aggressively or constantly directing the interaction. In reality, the most compelling form of leadership is emotional. It is the capacity to regulate oneself first, and in doing so, create a sense of direction and stability that others can relax into. Older men who embody this kind of leadership do not rush to assert themselves. They are comfortable holding space rather than filling it. When tension arises, they do not escalate it. When emotions surface, they do not withdraw. Their calm is not indifference, it is confidence rooted in experience. They have learned that reactivity erodes trust, while steadiness builds it. This steadiness allows a woman to feel that she does not have to manage the emotional climate alone, and that feeling is deeply attractive. Grounded masculinity shows up in how a man makes decisions without over-explaining, how he expresses desire without urgency, and how he remains present without becoming possessive. He does not seek permission to exist as he is, nor does he impose himself. Instead, he leads by example. His tone sets the pace. His energy influences the dynamic. Leadership here is subtle, but unmistakable. It communicates safety without sacrificing polarity. Women often respond strongly to this form of leadership because it offers relief. In many interactions, women are accustomed to carrying emotional labor, anticipating reactions, and managing discomfort. When a man is emotionally grounded, that burden lifts. She can explore her own feelings without worrying about destabilizing him. She can express attraction or hesitation without fearing retaliation or collapse. This freedom allows desire to expand rather than contract. Calm leadership also creates trust over time. It shows up consistently, not performatively. The man does not oscillate between intensity and distance. He does not test or provoke to feel powerful. His sense of direction comes from inner alignment, not from controlling outcomes. This predictability is not boring, it is reassuring. And reassurance, paradoxically, allows for more play, more risk, and more intimacy. When masculinity is grounded, it invites connection rather than demands it. It becomes a steady current rather than a forceful wave. Women feel drawn not because they are overwhelmed, but because they are anchored. They sense that this man can handle depth, conflict, and closeness without losing himself. And in that emotional steadiness, attraction transforms into something more enduring, because it is built on trust, respect, and a quiet strength that does not need to prove itself. Desire is rarely about the list of traits someone possesses and far more about the emotional experience created in their presence. What lingers is not what a man says about himself or what he tries to demonstrate, but how a woman feels when she is with him and how she feels after he leaves. Older men who understand this stop trying to manufacture attraction through tactics or performances. Instead, they focus on the emotional climate they create. They recognize that desire is a response, not a transaction, and that it emerges naturally when someone feels alive, valued, and emotionally engaged. When a man is attuned to how he makes a woman feel, he pays attention to subtle cues rather than chasing scripted outcomes. He notices when she relaxes, when her voice softens, when her curiosity deepens. He understands that attraction grows when a woman feels both seen and free, when she is not being pushed toward a conclusion or pulled into an emotional role she did not choose. This awareness shifts the interaction from trying to win her to inviting her into a shared experience. Trying to prove oneself often creates pressure. It turns connection into a performance review, where success depends on saying the right things and avoiding mistakes. Desire cannot thrive under evaluation. When an older man releases the need to impress, something liberating happens. His attention becomes more spacious. His interest feels genuine rather than strategic. The woman senses that she is not responsible for validating his worth, and that absence of obligation creates room for authentic desire to emerge. Emotional impact is built through consistency, tone, and presence. It is shaped by how a man responds to vulnerability, how he holds moments of uncertainty, and how he allows joy and tension to coexist without rushing to resolution. A woman may not remember every word of a conversation, but she will remember whether she felt rushed or relaxed, judged or accepted, energized or drained. These impressions accumulate, and over time they form the foundation of attraction. Older men who grasp this truth also understand that desire cannot be forced or negotiated. It must be allowed. They are willing to let attraction unfold without trying to control its direction. They know that if a woman feels emotionally nourished in their presence, Desire often follows naturally. And if it doesn't, they trust themselves enough to let it go without bitterness or self-doubt. When a man becomes conscious of the emotional experience he creates, he stops chasing desire and starts embodying it. Attraction becomes less about strategy and more about resonance. And resonance is powerful because it bypasses logic and speaks directly to the nervous system, where desire is born, sustained, and remembered long after the moment itself has passed.